Good evening, this is Left, Right and Centre, and tonight on the eve of the first round of elections with Chhattisgarh voting in phase 1 on Monday, the Prime Minister talks about urban Naxals for the first time, saying they sit in AC rooms and remote-controlled tribals. He accuses the Congress of shielding them. But who are these urban Naxals anyway? Are they really Maoists seeking to overthrow the state? Or is this a term being used to hit out at anyone who dissents against the government?
जो अर्बन माओवादी है वो शहरों में एयर कंडीशन घरों में रहते हैं, उनके बच्चे विदेशों में पढ़ते हैं, वहां बैठे बैठे रिमोट सिस्टम से हमारे इन आदिवासी बच्चों की जिंदगी तबाह करने का ये काम करते हैं। और एक ऐसी जमात इस चुनाव में लड़ रहे कांग्रेस का लोग जवाब दें कि आप उन अर्बन माओवादियों की रक्षा के लिए बयानबाजी करते हो, उनके खिलाफ अगर सरकार कानूनी कार्रवाई करे तो आप उनको बचाने के लिए मैदान में आते हो।
नक्सलवाद की बात शुरू कर दी, मगर जो उन्होंने वायदे किए और सबसे किए उनको इन्होंने पूरा नहीं किया। भाइयों और बहनों, पिछले 4.5 साल में नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने 3.5 लाख करोड़ रुपए 15 लोगों का कर्जा माफ किया। मगर जब जनता मोदी जी से कहती है भैया हमारा भी कर्जा माफ कर दो, किसान कहता है भैया हमारा भी थोड़ा सा कर्जा माफ कर दो, नरेंद्र मोदी कहते हैं नहीं हम तो नहीं करेंगे। आज के भाषण में नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने नोटबंदी की बात क्यों नहीं की? गलती से कर देते ना, भीड़ भगा देती स्टेट से।
Well, joining us tonight here in the studio with us, we have Adil Singh Boparai of the Congress. We have a senior journalist, Aarti Jairat, Niranjan Shetty of the BJP joining us from Mumbai tonight. Mr. Deshratan Nigam joining us as well, and we'll be joined by Prashant Bhushan as well shortly. Mr. Nigam, to you first. What is an urban Naxal?
Urban Naxal is somebody who's a Naxalite and who stays in our urban centers, plain and simple, and who is an ideologue to the Maoist on the ground and who does logistics of supplying weapons and other things and opens the supply lines of the weapons and communications. That's, in my opinion, is an urban Naxal.
Isn't it also, though, a term that is being used very broadly by the supporters of this government and others, who are supportive of its ideology, to essentially paint all those who dissent against the government or all those who disagree with the government? It's a term that is loosely being used to describe as anybody who disagrees with the government. Is that what's happening? Because what you said is very specific. These are people who are supplying weapons to Maoists and are actually, part of this entire movement to overthrow the state, which, of course, then definitely makes them Maoists. But, what about those who are dissenting against the government?
Let me answer your second portion.
Yeah.
See, let me answer. Rahul Gandhi dissents, Chandrababu Naidu dissents, H.D. Kumaraswamy dissents, Mamata Banerjee dissents, and Mulayam Singh, I can name, and nobody calls them Maoist. We don't call them urban
But the Prime
Naxals.
Minister said the Congress is shielding them.
I mean, that's plain and simple difference. There are dissenters everywhere, but we don't call them urban Naxals.
But why does the PM say the Congress is shielding urban Naxals then?
Because the simple reason is that they came out in support of these 10 people, and evidence was also found that CPI Maoists in Gadichiroli in Maharashtra, they came out openly in support of urban Naxals who were arrested. They wanted their unconditional release, and I'm talking about this is CPI Maoists, which is a banned organization. And enough evidence has been collected from Gadichiroli in Maharashtra.
Has anyone been convicted?
Banners were put up also out there.
Have any of these activists been convicted?
And no, they will be, I'm sure, because there's enough evidence out there.
But they haven't been convicted yet?
We are convinced
of
of
any
that.
crime?
So please remember, you painted entire Saffron Brigade in mob lynching. Has anybody been convicted there? Your channel, you painted in programs after programs, you painted them.
Some were convicted actually in Jharkhand.
Well, yeah, they were convicted and also garlanded.
And garlanded, yes.
So what happened there? So I'm just asking that what is an urban...
Those were isolated incidents, and then you painted the entire Saffron Brigade.
Can I come in, please?
How was the Saffron Brigade painted exactly? Can you be specific?
Everybody, that Sangh Parivar is involved, and you went on to
is
say
there a
the
quote
entire
to that
BHP
effect
and
that Sangh Parivar is involved? You have a quote, you have a sound bite to that effect? You have a quote to that effect that we said that? Wasn't Jayant Sinha called out specifically for garlanding a convicted lyncher?
No, I'm not saying your channel. The people who sat on your channels. I'm not saying your channel. People who sat on your channel have said so.
Shift in position.
Can I come in?
When the Prime Minister says the Congress is shielding urban Maoists, what are you doing exactly?
I think it's ironic because the Congress party and its leaders have laid their lives for the unity and integrity of this country, starting from Mahatma Gandhi ji, Indira Gandhi ji, Rajiv Gandhi ji, and in 2013 our leaders were affected by Naxal related violence. So it's quite ironic that it's coming from the Prime Minister. But I'll tell you what this is. There is a usual pattern to this. This politics of labelling by Mr. Modi is an attempt to divert attention from his own failures and acts of corruption. He did this in the run-up to the Gujarat elections, where he accused the former army chief and Dr. Manmohan Singh of treason. He had to withdraw those words on the floor of the House. Mr. Jaitley had to withdraw those words. And now again, there is a consistent pattern. Mr. Modi ironically didn't utter a word about demonetization, which has wrecked the Indian economy. He didn't have anything to say about the Panama probe, where Abhishek Singh, the son of the Chief Minister, is directly named. He didn't have anything to say about rising incidents of Naxal violence. He had nothing to say about women issues, women-related violence in Chhattisgarh. He had nothing to say about farmer suicides. He had nothing to say about unemployment. So Mr. Modi now has nothing to say except this politics of labeling, where he's obfuscating the truth. But rest assured, 12th of December, the people will vote and the BJP will be defeated resoundingly.
So, but Mr. Shetty, can I ask you, since you're from the party, that how does the party then look at who, who these urban Naxals supposedly are? I mean, who is Mr. Modi talking about? Who are these people specifically?
I think that's on record. He need not name those people, those who have been, those who are on record itself. Basically, it's a proof that the Maharashtra police are investigating, and I think the Prime Minister need not mention about them. There are so many others also in the pipeline, those who must be doing all such kind of activities.
No, but I mean, nobody has been convicted yet. There is no conviction in court. It is an investigation. So how have you all made up your mind that these people are Maoists?
Nobody. In Malegaon also, Pragya Sadhvi was never convicted. But then saffron terrorism was said by the P.C. Chidambaram and all the Congress people.
Actually,
even,
it was said by Mr. R.K. Singh first when he was Home Secretary, and now he's an MP from your party.
One of the colleagues on the panel that do you have a code? I think Mr. Digvijay Singh was there on record blaming RSS for all the activities and the saffron terror.
It was also R.K. Singh.
Let's not forget that also.
So, Aarti Jairath, when the Prime Minister borrows some a phraseology or a term that is often used on social media in very degrading and deriding terms to talk about those who dissent against this government.
Chief Minister candidate.
One moment, sir. Why is he doing that?
Well,
because there's no legal definition of an urban Naxal.
No, but
what is it?
He's now broadened the definition to beyond what Dissent Nigam said, because he talked about them having big cars, living in air-conditioned homes, rich lifestyles, sending their kids abroad to study. I mean, and it's so funny, these 10 people that Dissent Nigam referred to. One was Sudha Bhardwaj, who actually gave up her US citizenship to come back to India and settle here in Chhattisgarh to work with the tribals. The other is this Gautam Navlakha, who's a journalist, an activist, hardly has a big car or, lives in an air-conditioned home or anything like that. So, actually, I mean, I think the whole issue is being confused and obfuscated. The real people who exploit and mislead tribals, Nidhi, are corporates and politicians. I'm very sorry to say this, but corporates have their greedy eyes on the rich mineral resources on tribal land, and politicians have been misleading these tribals because they've been using them as vote banks for years to win elections, and then they forget about it. The PM said that the Congress was in power for 10 years. What did it do for Chhattisgarh? The BJP was in power for 15 years in Chhattisgarh. What did it do for the tribals? They're still as backward and live in as undeveloped places as they did 15 years ago. So what has the BJP done for them?
Okay, so we've got Prashant Bhushan joining us at this point. Prashant Bhushan, how do you look at this use of the urban Naxal term by the Prime Minister, no less, for the very first time? And why should this matter? Because after all, it is something that the Prime Minister is saying. This is not a Twitter troll saying it. Therefore, it is something that has to be taken far more seriously.
Well, Nidhi, you know that not perhaps too many people know this, but if you read Swati Chaturvedi's book, I Am a Troll, it is clear from that book that Mr. Modi himself controls the entire troll army of the BJP, which specializes in hate, abuse, lies, and every kind of vulgar, abusive discourse, etc. That's controlled by Mr. Modi himself. So therefore, whether he has used the word urban Naxal earlier or not, it is quite clear that the use of this term and this whole discourse of painting human rights activists as urban Naxals has originated with the blessings of the Prime Minister himself. He may have used it today for the first time, and it's a bit rich coming from a man who changes designer clothes 3 or 4 times a day, who travels in planes provided by Ambani, Adani, etc., who has been traveling in those planes, etc., who gives them contracts worth 20,000 crores, etc., in the Rafale deal, or various mining contracts, etc., etc., who's trying to give them a waiver from their legal obligation under the power purchase agreements. All these Adanis, etc., are being sought to be given all that he is using, and he is trying to paint human rights activists as urban Naxals who live in fancy houses and drive fancy cars, etc., as was just pointed out by, I think it was Vrinda, that
Aarti, yeah,
Sudha
Aarti Jairath,
Bharadwaj, Gautam Navlakha, Aarti Jairath, these are people who have spent their entire lives working for the poor, working for poor, underprivileged or oppressed Adivasis, etc., or others who have suffered human rights abuses, etc., who could have, Sudha Bharadwaj was offered a High Court judgeship. Sudha Bharadwaj could have been earning any amount of money had she become a corporate lawyer. But Sudha Bharadwaj chose a life of virtually lives in penury because of the kind of cause that she has chosen for herself, and her cause is just working for the downtrodden, oppressed, the labor, Adivasis, etc., and fighting for their rights.